Hello, and welcome to Birdeye Live, the show dedicated to the digital transformation of local businesses everywhere. Join me, Justin Meredith, your host and digital marketing evangelist here at Birdeye, and we'll learn from industry experts about the how and the why for taking your business online and claiming the most valuable real estate on the internet, that first page of Google. Also, we are here right now live. So if you have any questions about online reputation management, your business's online presence, or Google reviews, be sure to send a question in the comments and we'll answer it right now. Now, I'm honored today to be joined by Birdeye's head of sales, Stephen Munch. Welcome to the show, Stephen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really terrific, Justin, and I really appreciate this invite. I've been working with what I like to call it Main Street America now for over 20 years. I have a passion, helping these businesses with their reputation, with their social content, SEM, SEO. And the big thing is helping them bring back not only their existing clients but also bringing them new clients as well. So I'm excited to maybe offer a nugget or two here today that could help them, and also let them know why it's so important. This series that we are running, what we're calling Reviews to Revenue. I think it's extremely important for them to know why we're doing that.
Definitely. And that's great to hear. Glad to have you. And so, as you just mentioned, we have a pretty big webinar this week. It's the second installment of our Reviews to Revenue Masterclass, and we've dubbed it Reputation Management 101. In this webinar, we will be joined by Sarah Weber from Core Dental Group. She is the marketing director. And Core Dental Group is really cool because they've got about 45 different dental offices located all over across the country. And they've managed to build, maintain, and really kind of just continue to grow one of the best online reputations that I've seen across the dental industry. I mean, these guys have it down to a science, and they're really, really good. And so it's going to be really exciting because we'll be able to talk with her and kind of learn from their real world experience and the trials and errors of all of the things that they've had to do to establish such a strong online reputation. And in that, we're also going to be covering what components of an online reputation carry the most impact. There's a lot of different aspects when it comes to your online presence. And so we're going to try to nail those down and identify the best ways that you can improve your online presence easily without having to spend a ton of man hours or spend a bunch of money. So if you're tuning in right now, be sure to click the link in the caption and register for that discussion. I think it might be in the caption. It might also, we'll make sure to have it in the comments as well. But I want to go ahead and get started. So Stephen, let's kick things off. And I want to first ask you, what does it mean for a business to have a strong online reputation? What value does that bring? And what does it even mean?
Well, that's a great question. And, we're heading into a pocket of time, as I like to call it, where I think most small businesses would agree it's their best time of the year. Fall leading into the holidays, let's be honest, most people like myself, we like to spend money. And this is the time of year when you probably spend the most money of all, because it's that time of year when you spend. Holidays are coming up. And there's never been a more important time for your reputation to be impeccable. Everybody has one of these, right? So, we're in an instantaneous gratification society where everybody wants that instant gratification. And, at no time will somebody do business with someone if they don't have a good reputation. And it takes you so many years, Justin. Think about this. It takes you so many years to build up your reputation. And one mishap, something, maybe a misunderstanding, or, an incident that maybe happened because you didn't have the right manpower that day. That one instance could cost your business, a lifetime of opportunity where you took all that time to build that up. So it's extremely important to have a great online reputation. And I'll leave you with this fun fact. 98% of consumers will not take action before reading reviews. So that's something that all should be known to all.
Wow. I know I definitely fall in that 98%. I think at least once a day, I'm looking at something on Google Maps. I'm looking at reviews, whether it be a restaurant. Actually, as of Sunday afternoon, my truck that I drive decided that it doesn't want to work anymore. So I'm actually going to be on the hunt for a new auto repair shop to see if they can fix something that I'm not even sure what it is yet. That's something that I've been having to deal with. But it's a perfect example because I will be looking places in my area because I don't even know if my truck can start. So I'm going to have to look for places near me. And I want a good reputation. I want a business that will have a solid reputation because I'm not a car guy and I'm not super knowledgeable on it. And I don't want to be either taken advantage of or, not even know if what they're suggesting is the correct fix. So it's going to take some time, but I want to make, but I think I'm going to be a real life test of what we're going to be talking about today in terms of looking for a business with a strong online reputation. Now, Stephen, as the head of sales and more, and especially with the small businesses that we cater to here at Birdeye, I imagine that you've had several conversations with businesses that are looking to improve their online reputation and grow that presence online. Because as you just said, it's extremely valuable and it's something that every business should be striving to do if they're wanting to grow.
Right.
And when you're talking with these businesses, what are some of the more common challenges or maybe some of the hurdles that they've presented to you?
Well, again, I think if you talk to any business owner, one of the first questions I'll always ask them is this: if I can give you 5 to 10 hours back in your week, what would that be worth to you? And most business owners, they sit there and they think about that for a second, because 10 hours to a business owner, 10 hours, let's say 10 hours in a week, that could be worth an enormous amount, not only just for their professional life and their business, but also in their personal life. Let's be honest, most business owners are the CEO, the CFO. They clean up the shop, they close out the register, right? So when you talk to them about something like online reputation, the first thing they're going to say to you is, I don't have time for this, or better yet, how much time do I put into this? And then let's say I do decide to do this, right? When do I respond if somebody leaves me a positive review? Or do I even respond to somebody if they leave me a negative review? So I think a lot of the times why so many of them struggle with something like this is because they just don't know what to do. So here's nugget number one. If you get a negative review, respond immediately. Get it out of the room. Make sure you're taking care of it. A lot of the times it could be a misunderstanding. But I'll tell you this, perception is reality. And if you don't respond, they're going to automatically think that what is being said is true. So it's extremely important, if someone's taking this into their own hands, that any type of negative review is addressed immediately.
I completely agree with that. I might even have our social media person clip that section right there and post it as an individual video because it's such an important thing. And that is to respond. It just shows your customers and your potential customers how much you really care about their business and not just their wallet, but you really care about their experience that they had with you.
So
And
true.
so one of the biggest challenges that I've seen that businesses as a whole probably face when it comes to their online reputation is that the internet, well, more honestly, specifically Google or these search engines, is always in a constant state of change, whether it be an algorithm update or a new feature comes out, or maybe the priorities of the SEO stuff changes. It's just constant. There's tons of updates that seem to come out every single day, and it's something that's really difficult to keep track of.
Right.
But one thing that does not seem to have changed over the past few years is that the one thing that's really, really important to a business's online reputation is that online reviews are crucial. Why do you think that is? Why, when everything else seems to be changing and Google Maps is evolving and, the SEO priorities are changing and maybe there's, all this stuff is changing, but what makes reviews such a stable and important factor to a business's online reputation?
Again, getting back to this little device, everybody has one, right? And like I had said earlier, 90% of customers, they don't take action before they read a review, right? So let's take it a step further. Where are they reading those reviews? It's not just the Googles of the world, right? What do most people do in their free time? They scroll, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whether they're searching for something, right? And let's use an HOA, for example. Let's say you live in an HOA and they have a Facebook page, right? And there's about 1,000+ people that have access to that Facebook page. So let's say it's a Friday night. I'm looking to go out to an Italian restaurant. Where am I going? I'm probably going to my HOA Facebook page, and I'm putting in there, looking for an Italian restaurant in Northern Kentucky. Well, guess what? I get 3 or 4 or even 5 positive reviews, let's say about, Vinny's Italian restaurant. Now that I got a couple of those reviews and they're confirming that it's a good restaurant, I'm probably going to go to Vinny's. However, let's say you get one negative review, just one mishap. Food was cold. Service was, 2 hours too long. What happens? That potential client moves on to the next opportunity. And that could be with restaurants, that could be with hotels, it could be with plumbers, any type of business. Again, that's where your reputation is extremely important. That's why it's important to respond to the good ones, thanking them for it, and responding to the not so good ones and explaining why that might have happened. So it's everywhere. Social media, Google, you name it, your reputation is important to be impeccable wherever people are searching.
Exactly. And this is actually something we're going to be diving really deep into on Thursday's webinar, because there's so many aspects of just one is just responding to reviews. There's a lot to that, and there's a lot of reasons why you should do that. And we're going to dive into those on Thursday's webinar. And we're going to hear from Sarah Weber on their process on how they are able to respond to the reviews of 45 different locations that they have spanned all over the country. And so clearly, as we've already mentioned, reviews are important. But if the problem is, how do you get them? If reviews were easy to generate, and if they were really easy to gather, and everyone was just always super gung-ho about leaving a review for a business that they like, then we would not be here. We would not be having this conversation. This would not be a problem.
Right.
But it is, and that's because it's difficult to get those reviews. And so you need to have a process that's set in place that can allow you to do that, not only just once, but consistently, over and over and over again. Because as we'll talk about on Thursday, it's not just getting a review, it's also the quantity, the velocity, as in how often are you getting them? How recent is your most recent review? So Stephen, let's say, for example, there is a business that provides excellent service for their customers, and these guys are great. The staff is super nice. The product they sell is awesome. Maybe it's a restaurant and their food is just impeccable, but they don't seem to be generating any reviews online. What is something that they can do to fix this?
I got a little secret. Simple. Ask for the review. Okay? I mean, it's not complicated. Let's be honest. When someone's walking out of a restaurant or leaving a hotel, they just paid their bill, right? Or you just looked in your front lawn and it was just freshly cut, and the landscaper sends you your bill, right? What is a better time? There is no better time to ask for a review then. Well, how do you do that? You do that through automation, right? That's where Birdeye comes in. You could do that through your phone, text message, email, but ask for the review, folks. Ask for the review and you shall get. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's funny how simple it is, but yet powerful that is. Because if you really think about it, what is the type of person that is the most motivated to leave a review under their own willpower? I've asked plenty of people this, and they all say the angry ones. Like, it's just kind of one of those things, is that maybe it's their way to vent, or to, finding a way to get their voice heard. It's something like if they're really not happy. But that seems to be the more motivated review leaver, I guess, is a way to say that, or reviewer. So if you're wanting to do that, but the thing is like, it could be easy to ask, your customers for reviews if you have one location, or, you just have one front desk person or a clerk that just has to ask one person at a time. And it's really not that complicated. And that's good. And they should be doing that. But what if they have a lot of locations? Like, for example, on Thursday's webinar with Sarah at Core Dental, they've got 45 and they're growing like crazy.
Right.
They've already added 3 locations since I had originally asked Sarah to join me on this webinar, and they've added 3 more offices in the last 2 months. And so, what if you have a lot, and what if you can't really expect to have every single person that interacts with your customers, or at least on the tail end of that customer journey, to ask for a review? What are you supposed to do with that?
Well, again, like I had started to say, this is where, automation comes in. This is where someone like Birdeye comes in, and they're able to help you automate the process. And we create a dashboard where you're able to, manage all your locations. But more importantly, also what this allows you to do is it also helps you and prevents what we like to say is the biggest no-no, and that's review gating. So it protects you as well when you automate the system, and don't expect Johnny or Susie or whoever's at, the front desk to ask for a review every time somebody walks in, especially when you have multiple locations.
Can you elaborate on review gating? What is that? And
Sure.
why is it
So
bad? I've heard of it, but I haven't. That's something we haven't quite talked too much about
yeah,
recently.
and a lot of people have heard about it, and it's really simple to understand. So what review gating is it's referring to a process. So for example, whether it be a restaurant or landscape or contract, any type of a business, and they send you a message. They send their customer a message asking for how their experience was, whether it was positive or negative. Now, for the positive ones, what they're doing is that once they get an indication that it's a positive experience, they're directed to go leave an online review. Well, for those who have a negative experience, they're typically sent to a form to leave comments. And guess what? That form is never made public. So the end result basically is a collection of online reviews that are artificially positive. It's basically jerry rigging the game, and that's a huge no-no. Quite honestly, it's not representing an actual experience. So again, the automation will protect that and actually give a true experience for the for the client with the place of business that they just did business with.
Interesting. Yeah. And I mean, and that's something that's, that when you break it down, it's just about being truthful and allowing every single customer to have a fair opportunity to leave your business a review. And that's something that we're going to cover in Thursday's webinar. On top of that, we're going to be breaking down the 4 pillars of online reputation management. And we're going to cover tips on how to maximize your online presence in that way by using your online reputation to help boost your business online. Now, we're not going to get into those today. You'll need to register for the webinar to learn more about that. Sarah from Cordental is going to be telling the story of how she's able to build her online presence. And this is something you don't want to miss because she and Cordental have brought in over 16,600 reviews across those 45 different offices that I had mentioned earlier. And she's able to do that with just herself and the help of just 2 other people. We had a pre-webinar meeting last week with her, and the stories that she was telling me and the way that she was able to do this blew my mind. So you definitely don't want to miss this. And so be sure to register. And even if you're busy Thursday and you can't tune in live, it's going to be at 12 o'clock Central. So it's kind of like a lunchtime thing. But if you're not able to tune in, you can still register and watch the recording later, which is something that I always do with my webinars. I'm never really able to watch it live in the moment.
Yeah.
I wish I could, because then I could actually ask questions, which we're going to be able to do. We're going to save time for a Q&A session. But even if you can't make it, go ahead and register and save it for later. And you can watch that recording because the information in it is still going to be valuable. Because as I was saying earlier, one thing that has not changed is reviews are important to your online reputation. Now, we are wrapping up here. We're coming close on time. But I wanted to see if we had any questions in the comments or anything like that. Doesn't look like we received anything today, which is cool. Hopefully they're all being saved for Thursday.
For Thursday.
Um, but thank you for joining us, Stephen. And can you tell the audience where they can reach you if they'd like to learn more about Birdeye?
Absolutely. You can first reach me at, my email, stephen.munch@birdeye.com. I also suggest following me on LinkedIn. I try my best to every so often get on there and give some helpful suggestions, whether it be on listings, whether it be on reputation, whether it be on content that you should use for social, keeping it simple. And some things also that we can help you out with too is managing your calendar and making sure that you're getting the most out of your day. So these are just some of the suggestions that I post, and I always try to offer a nugget or two to help Main Street America and all the businesses that are out there. So I really appreciate the time here, Justin. This was fun.
I love it. And yeah, I follow you on LinkedIn and I love your content. Always high energy, and it's really great to kind of stay with that. You always have great insight too. And so, with that, follow Birdeye on LinkedIn. We do these live streams fairly often. We're trying to do more and stay more consistent on it. Tuesday has been our general day that we do these. So be sure to follow us and tune in to catch some of these more conversations. We're going to be interviewing all kinds of really cool people like SEO agency owners who will teach you how to help your business rank higher on Google, and so much more. And then also, as we mentioned, this webinar that we have on Thursday is only part 2 of an entire series of which it will be total of 4 parts. We had the first part last month where we had a panel of 5 different marketing experts from different industries all over the place, from healthcare to home services. and they were able to break down their ways that they were able to use reviews to grow their business and actually turn that into revenue, which is what our series is called, Reviews to Revenue. So be sure to check that out. And then also, if you are interested, be sure to register for parts 3 and 4. We're going to be talking about how to manage your online reputation when you do have a ton of locations. And we're going to talk about how to increase your star rating and some really, really good stuff with some really, really intelligent people. It's going to be really exciting, and I'm super pumped for it. So with that being said, go ahead and, for more on taking your local business digital and getting started on that journey, because as you were saying earlier, one of the things that people struggle with is like, I don't even know where to begin, let
Right.
alone do I have the time to begin. There's a lot that goes into that. And as we were talking about earlier, there's ways you can do it incorrectly, like review gating. So it's important to get started, but also to do it right. And so if you are just getting started, starting out with the correct foundation sets you up for success way, way more, a higher percentage of the time, for sure. So be sure to give us a follow on LinkedIn, register for the webinar, and we will see you guys next on the next episode of Birdeye Live.